Hi class 8. So we'll be continuing with the natural and man-made disasters chapter. In the last class we learned about floods, its causes and its impacts. We also learned about what's a floodplain and how it's formed and what's channel capacity also. So there are some technical terms in earthquakes also. So we'll be learning that along with the causes and impacts. Most of you would have seen earthquakes as news in your news channels or in newspapers, or you would have read articles about it, but most of us wouldn't have experienced an earthquake because most of the places we live in are not earthquake prone zones. So to go to the basics, earthquake is a sudden trembling or shaking of the earth's crust. So you notice the word sudden. It is not a gradual trembling, but it's a sudden shaking or trembling. It's caused by the movement of lithospheric plates under the earth's surface. So you know that under the earth's surface there are plates which are moving, or there are horizontal structures which are moving towards each other, which are moving away from each other, or which are sliding past each other. Volcanic eruptions also sometimes cause earthquakes. During an earthquake, the surface of the earth shifts, shakes and moves, which destroys buildings and other structures as well as natural habitat. So most of the pictures we see of earthquakes are about this: buildings destroyed, habitats destroyed, structures which are broken down. We don't see the picture of an earthquake while it is happening. We always see picture of an earthquake after it has happened. For example, look at this picture: damage caused by an earthquake. Most of the time we are related or we are exposed to what happens after the earthquake rather than what happens during the earthquake. Earthquakes begin deep below the ground. We learned that it's formed in the plates. The point where the earthquake originates is called the focus or hypocenter. You can remember the term focus. And the point on the surface where it is of the earth, which is directly above the focus, is called the epicenter. Seismologists are scientists who study about earthquakes. They use seismographs to record and measure the motion of the ground and the location where the earthquake is released. The magnitude, which means the energy released from the starting point focus, is measured using Richter scale. While the intensity or the effects, when we go to a place like this, you can see, oh, this is a moderately intense earthquake. When you go to another place where you see totally destroyed, nothing is there, all the houses, there's just pile of rocks and nothing else is there, then you can say it is more intense. So intensity or the effects is Mercalli scale, used to be measured by Mercalli scale. Okay, what are these points of focus and hypocenter? What do they indicate? Okay, so this is the surface of the earth. Under the surface of the earth there are lithospheric plates. These plates move close towards each other, these plates move away from each other. Imagine when these two plates come towards each other, they hit. So this is the point where the earthquake originates, right? Exactly above this point on the surface, this will be the point where there will be maximum destruction, exactly above the focus. So the place where it originates is called the focus, and above on the surface, exactly above the focus, the point where you get maximum destruction, this point exactly above the surface, this point is called the epicenter. So if the distance between the focus and epicenter is less, it will be a more strong earthquake, because what the energy which is produced in the focus reaches the surface very fast. But if the focus is formed here, it takes more time to reach the surface, and hence it will be a weak earthquake. So the distance between epicenter and focus, if it's less, if it's a strong earthquake. If it's more, it's a weak earthquake. Focus is the point of origin, epicenter is the point above the focus on the surface. Then you learned about two more scales. One scale is used to measure the energy which is released, another scale is used to measure the intensity or the destruction which is caused. Okay, in India we have divided our country into 5 zones. So zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4 and zone 5. Zone 1, 2, 3, all these zones start from weaker regions, and zone 4, 5 and 6 fall under severe regions. So weaker regions are the regions where earthquake chances are very less. Severe regions are the regions where earthquake chances are very high. Okay. Places in the Himalayas, one of the most seismically active regions in the world. So you have some places like Delhi, Patna, Srinagar, Kohima, Shimla, even Dehradun, Imphal, Chandigarh, all fall under severe seismic zones. But severe seismic zones are also divided into one or two categories. And even under the one or two categories, there will be some zones which are more severe, some zones which are less severe. Dehradun falls under a less severe zone. That's why we don't experience much earthquakes throughout the year. But in some places near to the hills, they experience the chance of earthquakes. Okay, what about the impact of earthquake? So the cause, it's not a man-made cause, it's a natural cause by the tectonic plate movement or the lithospheric plate movement. What about the impact? Impact is the destruction. The destruction of life and property are the major impacts. Because of the destruction of life and property, because life and property is destroyed, what happens after it? Construction of houses, roads, buildings, bridges, settlements in seismic regions or prone areas. So because there's destruction of life and property, we need to construct houses, roads, buildings, all these things in regions where earthquake is prone to happen. Buildings of dams on rivers on seismic zones. So if you build dams on the rivers around seismic zones, it will cause earthquake. Weak and temporary houses are not strong enough to bear shocks. So if there is weak or temporary houses which cannot bear any tectonic movement, it will cause earthquake. So even though it is written impact, these are points which indicate the causes. On steep slopes, rolling or falling objects can hit the people and kill them. Earthquakes trigger landslides, which is a large collapse of landmass, mass of hillside down the slope. So imagine there's a mountain, and this layer of the mountain, which is the sand and soil along with the trees, if it slides downwards, if this land slides downward along the slope, that is called a landslide. So if earthquakes happen nearby, it can trigger this mountain to cause this land to slope downwards. So that will cause a landslide. Earthquakes trigger landslides. Landslide is a sudden change in collapse or large mass of hillside down the slope. When landslides occur, to form huge blocks, they are called rock avalanches. So if it is falling down as a sand or fine material, it is landslide. If it is falling as big rocks, it is rock avalanches. Landslide is a feature of hills. Landslide mostly occurs in hilly regions where there is slope, and along the slope the sand and the rocks slide down. In Himalayas, rapid denudation of forest, human activities increase the frequency of landslides mainly due to rainy season. Sudden landslides can cause great destruction across wide inhabitable land. Landslides cause floods when the debris block river channels. So if this sand goes and falls in a river channel, what will happen? This sand will block the river channel. If it blocks the river channel, the water will start to overflow in both sides, and that will become a flood. So how earthquake, which is one natural disaster, causes landslide, which is another natural disaster, which causes flood, which is another natural disaster. Can you see how all these three are connected? So one natural disaster can lead to another natural disaster. Even earthquakes leads to another natural disaster called tsunamis. A tsunami is a series of waves in the ocean caused by the displacement of ocean water by sudden earthquakes or rock movement under the sea. A tsunami waves can travel 700 km/h in deep seas. A tsunami can strip coasts of sand, uproot trees, wipe out coastal towns traveling hundreds of meters, and can flood coastal towns. And this is a small passage, you can read through it, about the tsunami that occurred in India and the southern parts of Asia during 26 December 2004. Many people died during that time. So this is a broad understanding of how earthquakes are found, what is focus, what is epicenter, what are the people who are working with earthquakes are called. They seismologist, and the instrument they use is seismograph, and all the impacts and causes of earthquakes are also discussed, and how earthquake can lead to landslide, can lead to flood, that was also discussed. So I hope you understood this small topic of earthquakes. We will be discussing about cyclones in the next chapter, next topic.